Good afternoon and welcome to Second Chance. Second Chance is a weekly talk show that examines a wide range of social issues and seeks to inspire physical, emotional, social, and spiritual healing, believing that God is a God of second chances, and through faith, all things are possible. Second Chance airs live each week from the beautiful campus of Oakwood University and features real people with real issues and offers real answers. And now, here's your host, Kenneth Anderson.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Second Chance radio broadcast. I'm Kenny Anderson, as always delighted to be here with you on Sunday afternoon. It's Sunday, March the 10th, and we're so delighted that as we move and transition through this brand new year, that we're beginning to feel some warmer temperatures. In fact, this weekend, I hope that you're keeping time with time, because time has moved forward. Got that extra hour back, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with it just yet, but we'll figure out something along the way. And, of course, this is a great opportunity for people to take full advantage of the blessing of life and, I pray, health. There are a lot of people going through a lot of things right now, folks, and I think it's important that we exercise a measure of compassion and empathy as we think about the journey of life for ourselves as well as those people around us. Huntsville, Madison County is a very, very fortunate community to have all the wonderful people that are mindful, conscientious, and fully invested in the quality of life for all people in our community. And I truly am honored to be a part of this community. And we've got some great conversations for you today, folks. I promise you, I guarantee you, you're not going to want to change that dial. You're going to want to stay tuned into everything that is said today. If you're listening on 90.1 FM, which of course is the radio station, toss that radio station aside and get on the live stream. Find you an iPad, find your phone, find your computer. Get on the live stream right now at WJOU.org. You can check us out live and in person right now in this very moment by going to Praise 90.1 FM on not just Facebook, but we're also lighting up YouTube this afternoon. And for those people that tell me from time to time, oh, man, I'm sorry I missed the show, I've got good news for you guys as well. You may have missed the show when it was live, but you never missed the show or an opportunity to check it out in retrospect. So we download everything that we do on this broadcast, and it lives for as long as we choose to allow it to live. And for this particular purpose, we're going to allow it to live for a long time because we've got some great guests who are going to share some great information, and we look forward to hearing from them this afternoon. There are some people, of course, who are listening all over the nation, listening all over the world, because we're on the internet this afternoon at WJOU.org, and we are grateful that you've chosen to lock your dial in to this moment in time, because we've got some good stuff for you today. This broadcast is 33 years old. It's all about information, inspiration, and improving the quality of life for others. And I'm honored every week to be able to sit here and be able to share information through the voices of the many people that I have contacts with, that I have relationships with, that I have collaborative associations with. And again, we're going to have some great conversations today. I do want to not bury the headline because all month long we're celebrating Women's History Month. And I'm very, very excited about the theme for Women's History Month this year, celebrating advocates for diversity, equity, and inclusion. 3 words that I hope you'll spend some time checking out. There are some curious winds blowing in our nation today around that conversation. And what I'm challenging everybody that I talk to, as the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for the largest city in the state of Alabama, is that before you tune out, tune in. Learn and understand what these words mean as values to our humanity and our lives. Understand that it's more than one of the most polarizing conversations that we have, which is race. We're going to talk a little bit about a racial equity fund today. We're going to actually not spend time justifying it. We're going to tell you why it's happening and how it's making an impact in people's lives. That's a part of the DI landscape. That's why we have these conversations, and that's why it's valuable to hold on to these tenets of our humanity. So I'm looking forward to having additional conversations around Women's History Month and this very powerful theme, celebrating advocates for DEI, and you'll hear a lot more about it on this broadcast throughout the remainder of the month. I also want to say once again to those social workers out there who are on the front lines, happy National Social Work Month. You all are doing a great job. You are the vanguards. You stand on that line and you stand on that wall and you make sure that people who may have fallen are able to get up. You make sure that people who may be on the brink of falling over don't fall over. You step into challenging situations. You step into crisis all the time. And we know that you do it with a passion for creating a better circumstance for the people that you serve. So I tip my hat, even though I'm not wearing one this afternoon, that's my virtual cap, tip my virtual cap to those social workers this afternoon who are doing an amazing job out there. And also, I want to mention the 4th Annual Women's Expo that's coming to Huntsville on March the 23rd. I will be sharing some more information about that later in the broadcast. You don't want to miss that. Finally, shout out to those donors who helped me launch the Mother Ernestine Fletcher Tibbs Memorial Scholarship. I know it's a big name, but it means a lot to me. It is a scholarship that I just endowed for the social work department at Alabama A&M University. It is the first endowed scholarship in the history of that institution for the social work department, and I'm very honored to be able to do that in the name of my mother-in-law, who passed on December 11, 2022. I was just so inspired about being her primary caregiver along with my wife, Sonia, for the last almost 3 years of her life, that I wanted to do something special. And in the process of making final arrangements, I learned something I'd never known before. My mother-in-law attended A&M for a short period of time. She didn't graduate from A&M, but my mother-in-law was a bulldog, and she wanted to major in social work. So I got with Dr. Tanya Perry. I said, Dr. Perry, I want to do something special for this department that does so many special things in our community. For the 11 years I've been with the city of Huntsville now, I've always worked with social work students. I got 2 amazing students in my office right now from their social work department. I want to give back to this institution and specifically to the social work department. So it is fully endowed now as of 2 weeks ago, and I'm very excited about that. We did that in about 10 months. So if you made a contribution to the success of that effort, thank you, thank you, thank you for doing that. And I am eternally grateful for what you have done to establish this legacy in honor of my mother-in-law, Mother Ernestine Fletcher Tibbs. There's an amazing organization in this town that you absolutely have to know about, folks. And if you don't know about them now, shame on you. But they're here today to tell you all about it because they are I'm going to call them the brain children behind this whole initiative. I'm going to bring them on first, and I'm going to talk a little bit about them if they don't mind me doing that. Melissa, I see you out there smiling and ready to talk. Nancy, I see you over there making things happen. And also, Gary Whitley, I see you. I just brought you in, man. Good to see everybody. Let me do you all right by introducing you properly first. Melissa Thompson is CEO and president of the Community Foundation of Greater Huntsville. I'm so honored to have her here on the show today. She has worked with this organization since 2011. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what this organization is in just a moment. But Melissa, it's great to see you.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity today, Kenny.
All right. Nancy Vaughn, my good friend Nancy. I hadn't seen you in a while, Nancy, so it's good to see you virtually this afternoon. Yeah. Nancy is the chair of the Racial Equity Fund Leadership Team. And just a little bit about Nancy. She is a very accomplished employment attorney and certified human resources professional, and our paths have intersected multiple times over the last few years for various reasons. It just means that we're doing good things in good spaces for good people. It's great to see you, Nancy. Welcome to the Second Chance radio broadcast.
Likewise. Thank you, Kenny. Happy to be a part of the conversation today.
Did I stun you? I didn't know if there's a delay. I was like, should I speak? Should I not speak?
Are you able to hear me?
I hear you now. Yes.
No, I'm happy to be a part of the conversation. Okay.
All right. Yeah, I think there may be a little bit of a delay on your feed, but that's okay. We're glad to have you. Gary Whitley, my bro, what's going on, man? It's good to see you this afternoon. If you've been around the city of Huntsville, you haven't seen Gary Whitley, you absolutely have not been at the right places because this brother's moving and shaking all the time around this community, and I'm happy to see him today. He is the chair of the Racial Equity Fund Grants Committee and a Community Foundation board member. He also spends his days at Huntsville Utilities, where he works as community relations manager. I mean, this guy's just doing it everywhere you go in the community. I'm just honored to know him and to be able to work alongside him from time to time. Gary, welcome to the Second Chance radio broadcast.
Thank you so much, Kenny. Excited to be here on the show today.
Absolutely. Listen, I was going to read, but why insult my listeners with reading? Melissa, you've got all that passion and energy about what the Community Foundation of Greater Huntsville is. Tell us what this amazing organization is, and then we'll lead into a conversation about the Equity Fund.
Thank you so much. So our mission at its very core is we are mobilizing generosity. We believe that generosity is really a superpower that has the power to change lives, change families, change communities, and even change the future. So when we have donors who harness this incredible power of generosity to do so much good in this community. And you mentioned earlier quality of life, and that's really the heartbeat of why we do what we do. It's just improving the quality of life for everyone who lives here and calls this area home.
Yeah, you know, Melissa, when I think about what you just said, I think about words that really kind of get me going. And you used one just now. You're talking about generosity. I think about words like compassion, empathy. I think about words like redemption and grace. And I think about all these ways that really matter in people's lives, regardless of who those people are. Oftentimes we think about one kind of person that benefits from these experiences, but really it's a very broad range of people. And Nancy, as we talk about the Community Foundation of Greater Huntsville and what it represents to this community, we're always talking about the philanthropic nature of this community and how we so many times move beyond some of the challenges that maybe other cities may have, not just in Alabama, but across the nation. And I know there must be some point of pride, and I'm going to give you a point of privilege now to kind of brag on this organization for the great work that it does in this community.
Well, I appreciate that, Kenny. Are you able to hear me clearly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. I have been really honored to be a part of the Community Foundation of Greater Huntsville as a volunteer and former board member for approximately 8 years at this point. In 2020, after the murder of George Floyd, the Community Foundation established a racial equity fund. That fund was established within a matter of months with approximately 60 founding donors committing at least $5,000 each for grants to be put forward in an endowed fund for each year, as well as future giving to nonprofits in our greater Huntsville community area, the 5 counties that are served, to provide funds for those individuals who are working in spaces that close racial equity gaps. We know there are systemic equity gaps, historic equity gaps that need to be closed, that need to be repaired. That won't happen overnight. That won't happen in several years or even a decade. But several organizations are working very strategically in the space of closing racial equity gaps, not only with youth, families, but also in some areas, seniors and adults. So a variety of organizations have received grants, and to date, $443,000 has been donated from the Racial Equity Fund, again, established just 4 years ago because of the generosity of so many individuals and organizations in our community who believe that common good, that common ground is common good, and that each person, regardless of their racial or ethnicity, deserves an opportunity to be a part of the community, advance, and have meaningful contributions.
Yeah, that's very powerful, and it's why I respect the work of the Community Foundation. I respect the initiative that was launched as a consequence of the George Floyd murder and the conversations that came as a consequence of that. And Gary, as I think about, again, the whole notion of generosity in this particular space, you, of course, operate in that space quite a bit. You are a giver and someone that also benefits from the generosity of our community. Can you just because I really think this is special. I mean, I don't know. I haven't done any research about how many communities are like Huntsville, but I just get the sense that if there's a need in this community, there are people who are willing to step up. And I'm just sure that you've seen that from so many different perspectives, whether it's Huntsville Utilities, whether it's Alpha Phi Alpha, whether it's the Community Foundation. You see this a lot. Can you just sort of characterize what that looks like in our community and why that's so essential to what I call the pulse of our community and the ability to be responsive to the needs of many people?
Kenny, you're absolutely right, except there is no place better in the world than Huntsville, Alabama. Whenever there's a need, an issue, a problem, this community steps up to solve it. And that's no different from this racial equity fund that was stood up in 2020. We continue to eradicate issues and challenges here in our community. Huntsville's not perfect, but we are striving daily to ensure that we provide a high quality of life to everyone that is here in this community. Through the Community Foundation and this Racial Equity Fund, we're seeking and working to close those gaps, but we're looking for continued partners to join us in those efforts to continue to strengthen this community, to ensure that Huntsville remains the perfect and beautiful place that we all enjoy.
Yeah, Gary, I got to tell you, there are people listening right now. They're getting excited. They're looking for something to write with because we're going to give them an opportunity to learn about how they can partner with this organization to continue the success of it and create sustainability, which is, for you, Melissa, I'm sure, a very important aspect of the work that's done. Now, just last week, I had the chance to go to the second annual Racial Equity Fund annual meeting. And, I remember last year when it was a startup, it was an amazing experience. It seemed to be even more amazing this year. And I wonder if you would just share with the audience about your reflections on that and what the significance of that is, because I know some people spoke during that time, too, about their participation in this initiative.
So thank you for that opportunity. So really, it's our chance to sort of celebrate the donors who make this work possible and then celebrate the impact that they're having in the community. So we hear both from donors who are investing as to why they're investing in this work and why it matters. Then we hear on the other side, though, that how these dollars are being put to use to make a difference in our community. And so that's the great part of this. We had about 165 to 170 folks coming together to sort of celebrate this work. And so the thing that I'm so proud of is that, in an area that can be polarizing for some, we've been able to kind of navigate a situation where we believe that everyone should believe that common good is common ground. We all want the same things for our families. We all want a good place to raise our families, great schools, great opportunities. And we believe that when we focus on the things that unite us, that the things that divide us don't seem to matter as much. And so that's really what we've been so intentional about. And coming together for an annual meeting like we had last week is just an opportunity to kind of celebrate like-minded folks coming together for a like-minded purpose to do really great things together.
Yeah, and Melissa, you're absolutely right. I always tell people I have O positive blood. If I had a medical emergency this afternoon, I'm not going to ask you anything about differences of faith and religion and socioeconomic status, education. I don't care if you have a PhD or no GED. If you got O positive blood and is healthy, I want it. And you're absolutely right. When we focus on what unites us rather than what divides us, it gives us an opportunity to kind of sort this whole thing out. And when I say this whole thing, I'm talking about our common humanity, and it's such an important thing that we need to celebrate and focus on in very powerful ways. Nancy, I wanted to ask you about the Racial Equity Fund grant because that process opened recently, I think. And there are people out there that, believe it or not, without the benefit of a show like Second Chance, would not know about it. So this is a great opportunity for them to hear about what this grant is and how they might be able to find out more about getting access to it. Nancy, I think there's a little bit of a delay.
Yes, was that question, I apologize, directed to me, Kenny, because there was a little lag.
Yes. Just tell us a little bit about the racial equity grant process.
There may be. Yes, the racial equity grant process for this calendar year, 2024, is open. Letters of interest are due later this month. Any organization that wants to, a nonprofit in the 5-county area that is served by the Community Foundation of Greater Huntsville, can apply for a grant. Grants are a maximum of $20,000 each. And there's information on the Community Foundation's website about submitting a letter of interest. And that process, once it closes, there will be an opportunity for additional feedback from a subcommittee of the grants committee that Gary Whitley chairs. And at that point, organizations may be invited to apply for the full grant process, and those decisions will be made in late May. However, right now, the letter of interest are available, and there's an opportunity to apply through mid-March. Also wanted to note that we will be doing grant check presentations the week of Juneteenth, as we did last year. So organizations that receive a grant from the Racial Equity Fund in 2024 will receive their check sometime the week of Juneteenth. And so we're looking forward to bringing that into part of the celebration as we discuss racial equity. I don't know if Gary or Melissa had anything to add. Gary, of course, is our chair again this year, and he does a wonderful job keeping us on task, but making the process enjoyable as well, as we learn about all these wonderful organizations that are working to close racial equity gaps in our community.
Yeah, no, I'm actually going to go to Gary. So thanks for the opportunity to hit Gary up for some information. We're not just going to let him get away with being here. He's got to give us some information. Gary, talk to us a little bit about the process, because I think the last time, and Melissa, you may have better numbers than me, but somebody told me there's like 1,000 nonprofits in this area, maybe even 1,200.
Keep going.
Go even higher. Yeah. So there's a lot of nonprofit energy around here, and a lot of people who are either holding on or don't have a lot of clear direction on where they are. Gary, talk to me about the process. There may be people listening right now that think, oh, this is a great opportunity for me. But talk to me a little bit about the process.
So, Kenny, yes, the Community Foundation, this is now a well-oiled machine. So the first thing a nonprofit can do in our 5-county region is go to the Community Foundation website and sign up for the alerts. Specifically for this Racial Equity Fund grant, the details are there of what's required. And we want organizations that are operating in that space to review those criteria and consider applying. Because as we work to ensure that our community is the best that it can be, we have to know of those organizations, support them, partner with them, and help bring resources to them so that they can do the work, so that we work to close those gaps here in our community.
Do you know if there's of course you would, but just ask the question. Of course you know. Sort of like a minimum time for existence. You know, if I just started 6 months ago and I'm pretty excited about this opportunity, maybe I don't have the mileage behind me to be able to support applying right now. Do I have to have been in existence for a while, have filled out some 990s and those kinds of things?
So I'll let Melissa give you the specifics.
Hit me, Melissa.
Okay, so here's the deal. As long as you are a 501c3 in good standing with the IRS, you are eligible to apply. And one of the things that's really important to understand is we know that the grassroots organizations in this town who are working in this space, we are very intentional about giving them opportunities to apply. And so don't be intimidated if you've never gotten a grant from the Community Foundation before. This is a perfect opportunity to kind of put your idea in, put your grant application in, because of all of the grants that we do, we are trying to be very, very intentional about funding grassroots organizations who are on the ground working in this space. And so as long as you're a 501c3 in good standing with the IRS, you are eligible to apply.
And, you know, I knew that, of course. I just want to kind of bring it out of you guys. And here's the thing why that should make just people really excited right now. They should be sharing this link. They should be calling their friends. They should be writing down the information that you're all about to give about how they can get in contact with the website and that kind of stuff. Because it's such a basic process. You'll never be able to get access to this if you don't check it out. And the idea of sometimes feeling like you're going to be overwhelmed with either paperwork or the big organization is going to kind of lock you out or push you to the side. The strategic intentionality of this fund is what you need to focus on. What are you doing in your organization that speaks to the things that this organization is focused on? And, I just want to say a couple of things about that, because you guys are focused on things like basic needs. You're looking at things like healthcare. You're looking at things like arts and culture. I mean, there's just a lot of things that you're looking at in terms of the racial equity component of this and what people are doing. And I think that's just so important to be able to focus on as we talk about this. Okay, so now we told people a little bit about what's going on. We got to tell them how to get a hold of that information. Let's talk a little bit about website, if there's a phone number that people would need to have. And certainly let's get that deadline out there again so that people can know exactly what they're up against.
Okay, I'll hit the website is givehsv.org. So that's just, we're all about generosity. So our website is all about generosity too. Givehsv.org. When you're there, you can just do a quick search on equity and you'll find the links for more information about not only the fund, who some of our founding donors are, past grants. That's going to help you kind of see how this all works, kind of what types of programs we've funded as well. And then that's going to kind of get you in that space. And so that deadline, I'm looking, Nancy or Gary, I'm looking, it's this month. I'm looking for the exact date. I'm forgetting it off the top of my head. I will take a quick look. I am so sorry for that.
It's all right. Yeah, no, Nancy says something about mid-month, and so...
It's March 19th.
Okay.
A little voice in my ear just helped me out there.
March 19th, I think. Okay.
It is.
All right.
Okay.
That's good.
March
that's good.
19th.
That's good, so people can know that. And I love the simplicity of the website, too. Givehsv.org. Anybody can know that. Anybody can access it. We got about 2 minutes left. I do not want to miss the opportunity to let donors know how they can connect with you as well. Who's going to handle that for me?
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to jump on that one because I love working with our donors. And so at our core, we just help donors be generous, however that looks to you. And so if you've got an idea on how you want to support this work, we would love to make it easy for you. So there's a donate button on our website, that same site. You can jump on there and donate. But if you have some more questions like, hey, I want to donate stock or something else, we can help you do that. We just love that part of our work. That's my favorite part of my job, is helping donors be generous. And so go to givehsv.org. There's a donate button right there. Jump on. Be part of this, be part of the solution. It's easy to talk about things, but the reason this fund launched is because we wanted to put some action behind our words. And so we know that words themselves don't really solve anything. It's when you have words plus some action behind it. And that's what we're committed to, is being part of the solution by putting dollars in play for this work.
Anyone listening this afternoon can get involved in any way you want to. Even that young lady, that young man out there that's thinking about their lemonade stand. They may want to actually leverage some of those pennies and nickels and dimes towards the community fund. It happens in cities all over the nation, as we oftentimes see. Never think about how overwhelming the opportunity to give might be. Think within your own space and think about what you'd like to be able to do. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a wonderful conversation. We've got to have you come back, because maybe after the awards are given out, we can have you come back and maybe actually highlight one or two of the actual donation recipients to talk about how they plan to use those funds and what impact that will have on their organizations. But Melissa Thompson, Nancy Vaughn, Gary Whitley, thank you for jump-starting this conversation on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. And I look forward to talking to you all again soon.
Thank you so much.
For the opportunity.
All right. Have a great afternoon.
You too.
All right.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a wonderful and amazing opportunity to be able to talk to the folks that I've been able to talk to this afternoon, and a great way to jumpstart our conversation and our broadcast on this afternoon as well. I'm going to come back in just a moment with more of the show. I'm Kenny Anderson, his Second Chance. I hope that you're having an amazing day.
People always ask me, why am I always so happy and never down? And why I'm always laughing and how they never seem to catch me with a frown. Some may think it's not real, and I know that a lot feel it's a show. So I wrote this song to tell you about someone I am familiar with and know. So I tell them that it's you. You're the reason why I smile. You pick me up when I am low. me. Save a space for me in your heart.
Every year, the United Negro College Fund helps thousands of students go to college. But for everyone we help, there's one we can't, not without the funds.
Save a place for me.
Please support the United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste. Call 1-800-332-UNCF.
A message from the Ad Council.
Transforming
lives.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenneth Anderson.
Welcome back to the broadcast. I hope that you enjoyed the great start to this beautiful day, talking with our friends from the Community Foundation of Greater Huntsville, talking with Melissa Thompson, Nancy Vaughn, and Gary Whitley, providing great information about their Racial Equity Fund and the grant that is available for you right now. You can check it out at givehsv.org. That's givehsv.org. We hope that you'll definitely take full advantage of that. Charles Frye is a military veteran with over 30 years of leadership and development skills and a bilingual program manager with over 25 years of success in logistical operations, financial management, new business development, contract administration, and maintenance operations. He is well-versed in business startups and implementation, both nationally and internationally. Charles is currently the president of CNI Solutions, a 501c3 nonprofit, and an expert in developing multi-service procedures, managing multi-community services, and forming strategic alliances with key partners to champion the underserved communities. Welcome back to the broadcast, Charles Frye. It's great to see you once again. I've been looking forward to this conversation. You know, folks, I run into people all over town, and sometimes when I run into them, they become guests on my broadcast. And Charles had been on the broadcast in the past month. Actually, it was back in January, on Drake State Community and Technical College's segment, which is Perspectives in Education, that comes around every quarter, talking about a very significant program that's taking place. But Charles and I had an interesting conversation at a career fair over at Blossomwood Elementary. Just got to talking about soft skills and the fact that a lot of people who are job seekers have deficiencies in that area. And some people who even get the job are still struggling to survive because some of the basic fundamental kinds of things that are part of the work and career toolkit are things that they may find some challenges with. So just wanted to talk to him about that today. Charles, you do seminars, you do a lot of coaching, you talk with entrepreneurs who are looking to be successful in the ecosystem, and I'm sure you see a lot of things out there, but I want to maybe talk to our listeners this afternoon about some ways that they can sharpen their skills and be better equipped and better prepared to navigate the very challenging arena of workforce and workforce development. Talk to me a little bit about, from your vantage point, some of the deficiencies, some of the more profound deficiencies that you see, where the expectation is when someone comes into the workforce that they should have these basic skills.
So, well, first of all, thanks for having me back again, Kenny. As always, I love being here and talking about our community and the things that we can do in the community. And in regards to the soft skills and what I have noticed and what I've worked with in dealing with entrepreneurship and dealing with peer-to-peer counseling, a lot of them are lacking just the basics, you know, things that you and I may take for granted that everyone should know that, but they don't really know that. They don't understand the basics of even how to introduce themselves when they walk into the room. They don't understand the importance of how you present yourself as that first impression is that lasting impression. So many of them think that it'll be okay later on down the road. I'll show them later on, but later on might not come for them, because when you give them that first impression, that's when they tend to think, well, you know what, maybe this isn't the right person that we need for this particular job, or maybe this isn't the right person who we're looking for to collaborate with. So we try to make sure that our students, the people in the community, understand whenever you're going to present yourself for a job, or if you're going to present yourself with a collaboration with another organization, put that best foot forward. Don't go in there half-stepping and thinking that's going to pull you through, because that organization has a reputation to uphold as well. And they have their brand who they're looking out for as well. So you need to make sure you're doing the right things there.
Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to talk with you about, and I really want to help people today, because you and I both see some of these challenges on a regular basis. Let's just talk about punctuality on a job, showing up on time and making sure that, you are ready to get the job done. Can you talk a little bit about time management as it relates to what employers need?
Yes, sir. So understand, I got my time management and development from the military. It was always crucial that you be somewhere whenever your commander or the first sergeant said, I need to be here at a certain time, because in the military, if you're not on time, people get hurt, things happen like this, and possibly people could pass away or die. So I make it a point to, whenever I'm dealing with my classes, and one of the very first things that I talk about is time management. Before we even get started into the know-how about entrepreneurship, before we even get started, and talking about how you're going to market, we talk about time management. And one of the greatest examples I give to them, I said, think about this. Whenever you guys go to a store and the store says they open at 9 o'clock, you expect that door to be open at 9, not 9:05, not 9:10, 9 o'clock. I said, so here in this class, whenever I'm teaching, whether it be my financial literacy class or the entrepreneur class, if I say I'm starting at 6 o'clock in the evening, class will start at 6. I'm not waiting for 5 more stragglers or 2 more stragglers. You guys will have to catch up what you miss whenever you get to class the next day. But for everyone else, 6 o'clock, it's being 6 o'clock. And I do that for a reason. It's important that they understand that when you're starting on time, people look at that. So when you're starting a business, or if you're going to be attending a particular class, or if you're going to have a meeting with somebody, you want to be on time so they know that you're serious and they know that you are for real about what it is that you came here to do. So it is so critical that we always be on time. I remember I used to get clowned a lot about whenever we would go to a family gathering, and a family would say, hey, Charles, we're having the get together at 5 o'clock this evening. Well, guess who was there at 10 till quarter till 5? I was. When the rest of the family wouldn't show up until 5:30, 6 o'clock. And they would say, well, why are you here so early? You said it was 5 o'clock. I was taught if you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, it's unacceptable. So I need to be early to be on time. So it's very important for people to understand how time management works, because everybody cannot just sit and wait for somebody, because they have a calendar, they have a schedule that they have to keep as well. So you need to be on time.
Yeah, I recently heard something, and I hope it was like an outlier, but people, when they hear what I'm about to say, may say, oh, that didn't really happen. But trust me, I was told that this happened. Someone had a job interview, and they asked their parent if they could go with them, not just to bring them, but to also be a part of the job interview. Can you talk a little bit about, is that appropriate? Is that something that, an employer would look at in kind of a strange way? If the person that is brought along with the person who is applying for the job is not applying for the job, then what relevance would that have to that situation? That kind of blew my mind. Well, let me say, it kind of made me scratch my head, because there's a lot of stuff going on out there, but this is a true story that somebody said their child had a job interview, and they asked their parent, not just to drive me there, but I want you to sit in here with me during that process. Is that appropriate?
So something like that, believe it or not, happens more often than not. I know you and I are not accustomed to something like that, but believe it or not, it happens. As a hiring manager, and I've hired a lot of people over the years, a lot of people. And believe it or not, I've had grown adults actually have their spouse in on the interview because they wanted to be part of that, because they what I was interviewing for was an overseas job, and that spouse wanted to understand exactly how everything was going to work, and I did not deter it. I didn't draw back from it. I just thought it was interesting that that spouse was there. Now, the spouse didn't, they were not involved with the interview. They was just there listening like this. And there were certain things that when I would ask the question to the particular candidate, they kind of look at the spouse and then answer, but the spouse would never say anything. So when we're dealing with children, when we're dealing with teenagers, asking for their parent to come to the interview, first and foremost, what you're looking at is that teenager who was not equipped to be able to sit down with an interview. He was never taught, he or she was not taught, how do you interview? What's the proper thing to say? What should I say? What should I not say? And what they were doing, they were utilizing that parent as that crutch, if you will, to make sure that they say the right thing. And they understood that. And that's one of the things that we try to teach the youth during our financial literacy class, is about how to interview and saying the right things. I'm not too sure in this day and age if we can say if it's appropriate or not appropriate, but it definitely shows signs that there needs to be some soft skills being taught somewhere in some organization to those children, so that they're not saying, Mom, Dad, please come with me to this interview.
Charles, I'm going to tell you, man, look, I'm not too far removed from my past in terms of the work experience, looking for jobs. I have never in my life once considered bringing my parents to my job interview with me. And my first job I got when I was 16. Even at 16, I didn't say, I better go get my mom and dad for this interview. I mean, that sounds crazy to me. Okay, I was trying to hold back when I first asked the question and try not to answer my own question. That sounds absurd to say to your parent, would you sit in the interview with me and have my back? Now let me be a little bit more kinder and gentler too. All right. So maybe it's a situation where someone has an anxiety disorder. Maybe somebody has a little bit of challenge and concern. I want to be sensitive to that. If there needs to be a dog, a comfort pet in the room, I understand there may be some situational kind of things, but I'm going to say this unequivocally, that the majority, and you call the majority 51% if you want this afternoon, the majority of those situations should be absent of a parent sitting next to that child or that or that adult. Like you said, you heard of adult situations. In a case of a spouse, and a spouse is going to be deployed or there's some opportunity overseas, I get that, but not even for the first part of the interview. They're not being hired. They're supporting the person. And so I think as an employer, if you walked into my interview with your spouse or your friend, and you were talking about, they're going to be in here to interview with me, I'm like, well, you're not the person for the job. Maybe that doesn't sound healthy to some people, but that's the way it is. I got to ask you this. I'm an educator, and I see writing samples all the time. I got to imagine that a lot of people lose their opportunity for employment just through the application process because of their poor writing, just through the application process because of their poor writing on the resume. What has your experience been like?
So my experience on that has been exactly what you said. I have passed over several people, all because on their application, there is no resume. They applied, they're there, I can see their name, but where's your resume at? And I go next. And they may have 20, 30, 50 years experience, but you didn't even put a resume there for me to look over. Some of the other things that I've seen, they don't list where they're currently working at. It'll show all this other stuff. Like it'll show from 2015 to 2016, I worked here. And then from 2017 to 2019, I worked here. And then there's nothing else. Okay, so what have you been doing since 2019 all the way up to 2024? Like this. And there's that where they seem to miss or not understand that you need to put all that information in there so that hiring manager can have a full scope of your abilities and what you are doing. Even if you was a stay-at-home mom listed, say I stayed at home mom for the last 2 years. If I was in college, I was in college from 2019 all the way up to 2024. They need to put something in there so that hiring manager understands that. And there's so many organizations around the Huntsville area that offer resume writing classes to help people with their resume to put that stuff into play. And across the nation, I'm sure there's all kinds of organizations that help you with that. It's just that the people need to take advantage of it and use it so it can help them to become better and become more, employable by employers.
What is the challenge of technology in the workspace? Because everybody's got a device that they're connected to. A lot of people have a hard time managing that on the work floor or in the work environment. How much of that has become a challenge in the workspace?
So I can tell you right now, the biggest problem with technology is these right here, those telephones, right? That is the biggest issue that they have in the workplace, and they can't seem to live without it. A couple of weeks ago, I actually went in a couple of weeks ago. I think it was last week when AT&T had that big blackout where everybody's phones was down, right? People were going crazy. I can't call. I can't get no messages. And the first thing that I thought about, man, this reminds me of how it was back in 1989 when we didn't have no phones and you had to walk someplace to go talk to somebody, and you actually had to do something, so that's one of the biggest issues. And the way things are working now, especially with dealing with AI is becoming really huge in the workplace. Even with me and our organization, it's become huge. A lot of people do not want to conform. They don't want to change. They don't want to give up what they used to do or how they've been doing it to what's happening right now. And that's one of the biggest issues that a lot of employers are facing when it comes to employees or when it comes to the youth. Understanding you have to be willing to make change. If you want to be successful, be willing to make change.
Yeah, there are any number of landmines in the workspace that people are obviously and absolutely concerned about from the management perspective, from the supervisory perspective. And one of the things I'm sure through your seminars and your trainings is that you're just trying to help educate people and help them understand about the necessity to have these things, that the workforce hasn't changed so much over the years that people are going to lower their expectation of people. You still need to come in with a certain skill set. You need to come in with a certain discipline. You still need to come in with a certain, level of emotional intelligence and sensitivity about people around you. You need to be respectful to people and be able to work together on a team and that kind of stuff. So this whole notion of individualism and even independence sometimes gets in the way of people. I don't need nobody. I'm going to do what I want to do. And as a soft skill, that, of course, creates some real challenges for them. Now, Charles, you do conduct seminars. If you, in the last maybe 3 minutes or so, want to talk to people about some of the opportunities that you provide for people to learn about some of these things.
Well, yeah, most definitely. So here at C9 Solutions, one of the biggest things we do is we work with our teens, the youth, ages 13 and 19, and we work with them on these soft skills and developing those soft skills so they don't have to call mom or dad to go with to an interview with them, because they learn it here through our course. And we also make them understand that, social media is good, but it can be bad if you use it the wrong way. And there's a lot of things that they should not be putting on social media, because over the last 5 years, and just about every organization who I've talked to that does hiring, one of the things that they do now is they purposely look at your Facebook accounts. They want to see what type of life you're living. And if you have a lot of stuff on it that does not coincide with their brand, they're not going to hire you. And I've seen it done so many times. And it gotten to the point to now, Kenny, it's even with us when we're hiring, and I'm looking, I said, well, let me see what that Facebook looks like. Let's see what type of individual this person is. Like this. So that's important that they need to understand that And we need to get rid of that mindset of I'm going to keep it real. You can't keep it real. You can't keep it real all the time, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes you have to keep it educated. That's what you have to do. You have to educate yourself on what it is that you're about to go interview for, and what it is that the company who you're interviewing for. So that's one of the things that we teach them during our classes. Not only that we're showing them how to do interviews and how to ask the right questions during the interview, but we tell them to do research on that company who you're applying for. Like, just let them know that you know about that organization. You know when they were established. You know how long they've been in business. You know what products they produce and where they ship to. So when you are doing that, you're educating yourself, and that makes you a better employee for those individuals. And sometimes, those individuals don't really want to go work, and they want to work for themselves, and that's okay. And there's nothing wrong with working for yourself. There's nothing wrong with being an entrepreneurship, and that's also what we do. So we teach them how to be an entrepreneurship, but we teach them how to be an entrepreneur the right way, not just I'm going to start a business and that's it. No, you need to understand the front end of it as well as the back end of it, like this. And I found out so many times, even with students that have businesses already, Kenny, they have them for 3 to 5 years, and when I start talking to them about the back end, it's all like it's brand new to them, like they just now started a business again. Like this. So those things are some of the things that we do here and helping and coordinate with our community and making sure that they understand that, hey, soft skills are important and they are needed in the workplace.
Yeah, and I don't have any verifiable research, but I am almost certain that there's some people out there who are seeking jobs who are still waiting for a return phone call because of ringtones. But that's a whole nother conversation now. And we'll get to that perhaps another time. Charles Frye, president of CNI Solutions. Always good to talk to you, my brother. Tell people how they can get in touch with you and find out about all the services that you provide.
Yes, you can reach us at 256-459-6020, or you can go to the website, www.cni-solutions.org. Set up an appointment there through our appointment book, or send us an email, and we'll be more than happy to get you started or get your group started in one of our classes.
All right, Charles. Always good to talk to you. Until the next time, brother. We'll see you then.
Right. Thank you, Kenny.
All right. Charles Frye joining us this afternoon, and we are appreciative of the information that he was able to share about soft skills and the opportunity that you have to be able to be successful in navigating your career path. There certainly are some landmines out there, and we hope that you will work towards avoiding those landmines. We'll be back in just a moment with some more guests. I'm Kenny Anderson in Second Chance. I hope that you're having an absolutely amazing day.
Why do we say praise 90.1 FM? Because the blessing is in the praise. Filling your day with songs of praise on Praise 90.1 FM.
Hey, Jack, you got a sec?
Yeah, sure, come on in.
Yeah, I was wondering if you... Jack, your hair's on fire.
Yeah, I know. I just need to finish this sales report, and then I'll probably, I don't know, let me lie down for a bit. But I'm sure it'll go away.
But the flames are getting bigger. Shouldn't I... Your hair, there's so much fire.
No, I'll be fine. What can I help you with? Oh, dear. Well, at least we know the sprinkler system works.
You wouldn't ignore this, so why ignore the signs of a stroke? If you or someone you know suddenly experiences numbness of the face, arm, or leg, or sudden trouble speaking, seeing, or walking, don't wait to get help. Call 911 right away, because time lost is brain lost. To find out more, visit www.strokeassociation.org or call 1-888-4STROKE. This message brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Transforming
lives.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenneth Anderson.
Welcome back to the broadcast. Want to thank Charles Frye, the president of CNI Solutions, once again for joining us this afternoon, sharing some good information about those soft skills that are so necessary for us to be successful in the world of work. You know, a couple of weeks ago, I had a conversation with some guests about a big, I don't know how many times I can say big, but I'll keep saying it till I get them up on the screen here, a big conference that's coming up to the city of Huntsville in just a matter of weeks now. At one point, it was a matter of months, and not too long from now, it'll be just a matter of days. And I'm just so glad that they have come back on the broadcast. I must have treated them right the first time, I guess. But they're back to talk a little bit about this amazing and important conference. It's called the Health, Equity, and Lifestyle Project, or HELP Conference. It's coming up a little bit later this month on March 24th through the 26th. Right over yonder, I'll say, at the Space and Rocket Center, and we're looking forward to having a wonderful time. Joining me once again, Dr. Columbus Batiste is back with us. He's the co-founder of Healthy Heart Nation, a 501c3. Dr. Batiste, how you doing this afternoon?
I'm well. I'm glad I was able to join you. How are you?
Man, I am glad. You know, with your work, there's always a wild card there, and of course, you just kind of carry it right up there to the edge. And you showed up, and I'm like, man, my brother is here. So I'm glad to see you once again. Also, Danette Batiste is here with us. She's the CEO and executive director of Healthy Heart Nations. Danette, always good to see you. How are you doing this afternoon?
We are doing well. I'm doing fantastic. So excited for the conference and that it's coming up sooner. And we're just really working very hard to get as much information out about it as possible and to get those who need to be in the room. So we appreciate the opportunity to share once more about what the conference is and why people should be there.
Yeah, so let's start where we left off. And then I want to talk a little bit more specifically this time about some of the elements of the conference, because we want people to walk away from this conversation so on fire that the only solution for them will be to put themselves out by registering for the conference. Talk to me a little bit about this conference one more time. Dr. Batiste, I'll start with you again, because I started out by asking a question about why this is important for people to be a part of, why they should pay attention to it, and why they should not lose the opportunity to come and register for this event. Tell me a little bit about this conference.
Man, so I'm gonna tell you what's so incredible about this conference is really it's the up close and personal interaction that you're going to get with some leaders in this space here. So we're going to cover everything from essentially from birth to the grave. We're going to start with maternal infant mortality. We're going to move over to cardiovascular disease and try and keep you away from people like me. That's what I'm doing all day today in the cath lab, right? We're going to talk about diabetes, which seems to be a scourge across the United States, really attacking communities of color. We're also going to talk about mental health, which of course you're going to be an esteemed panelist for that, as well as Alzheimer's disease. And so it's not only an opportunity to learn, but to also figure out how we can take this information back to our communities and really become transformative about how we can change the narrative and stop this thing called premature death. That's really what it's about.
Yeah, you know, I think about a lot of words when I think about this kind of an event. I think about words like empowerment. I think about self-determination. I think about all the things that really put us on a path of success. And Danette, this has got to be for you something that you're so excited about in the position you're in right now, leading an organization that focuses on making healthy lifestyle choices, which is really the essential to a long, productive life. Talk to me a little bit about your excitement and enthusiasm about this conference, and what are you saying to people when you're talking to them about being a part of this event?
Yeah, of reasons. We are extremely excited, first of all, for the conference, and then to be able to bring it to Huntsville. As you know, Columbus and I are both graduates of Oakwood University, and we're always so excited to bring people to our beloved Huntsville area so that they can learn more about the wonderful things that are happening in Huntsville. And so we are looking to talk about the disparities in the community, but we also want to be able to highlight the fact that Oakwood has its own kind of unique, and the Huntsville area has its own unique brand of living, lifestyle living that has contributed to people living well into their 90s and hundreds, and not only just living well into those times, but living well into those areas and those times in their lives. And so we're excited about being able to share that. But what is also most importantly for us with the conference is the ability, as Columbus has mentioned, for us to really talk about not just the issues, but solutions. And so we want to bring people together from different areas of medicine, business, education, to not only talk about the challenges, but to really come up with solutions that are real time and that can be implemented to not just talk about a problem, but to really change the outcomes. And so we're very excited that everyone that we have chosen to be on the panel, who are speakers, who are panelists, really understand the importance of that. It is really about leaving places and conversations better than you were when you started them. And so everyone that we're bringing together as, panelists and speakers have that in mind. And we're also looking for the people that are going to be in the room to not only add to that conversation, but help us move it forward.
Yeah, Dr. Batiste, you alluded to this a few minutes ago, and I hope you go a little bit deep on this for me, but just the whole notion of a comprehensive approach to health. It's not just one thing. I can't just sit back and say, I don't do caffeine or I don't do meat or, we kind of find that sometimes where people kind of cherry pick their vice, their nutritional vice or their lifestyle vice. I don't do that, but they're not doing other things. They're not getting enough sleep. They're worried about stuff all the time. Talk a little bit about how this conference really addresses that holistic approach to health.
Yeah, health is really the sum total of many parts. And you said it so effectively. So yes, at the core central component, it is what we choose to put into our bodies and the foods that we eat. And we shouldn't focus on what we don't do, but rather what are we doing for our health? That's one of the things that oftentimes is a stumbling block for so many out there. I don't do this, I don't do that. Well, what are you doing? Are you moving? Are you sleeping? Are you choosing to live a life in which you forgive others and you have a positive outlook? And just the importance of all those things and their confluence that they play a role in terms of cardiovascular health, diabetes, et cetera, et cetera. And so we want to bring together individuals where we can have these conversations, but not just the generic conversations that many of you have had in your couches and at the kitchen tables and dinner tables. But how do we move this conversation over from just talk into action? How do we move it from potential energy into active energy that we're actually changing and we're transforming? And that's one of the beautiful things that I'm so excited about this conference right now, is that after on day one, where we lay the foundation really about what's happening and how lifestyle impacts your health, what is the role of the community? What's the role of business professionals like the Kenny Andersons out there using their platform to spread the message of health? What's the role of places of faith, of places of higher education, really in delivering health for the community at large? And how can each of us be a part of that to transforming and making the lives better for those coming behind us?
Yeah, and Danette, you and Columbus spent some time here in Huntsville last fall, sort of laying that foundation, visiting with people from the municipalities, the higher education community, the faith community, and more, to kind of lay out your vision for this particular event. Talk to me a little bit about why that was so important for you to be able to do that, and what kind of response have you gotten from those individuals?
Yeah, we and thanks to you for opening those doors to us. We were able to, I think we met with maybe 5 or 6 different individuals that you had outlined. And so, at first, first of all, they only saw us because we dropped your name. So name dropping works in the world, okay? Always name drop.
Well, those are you got to the right people, because there's probably some wrong ears that would be like,
So we were able to, just really just talk to them and really just explain to them where our hearts were, as Healthy Heart Nation, where our hearts were for the community, and to just talk to them about the importance of really providing this conference and providing the information and bringing those people together. And what we learned is that everyone has a common thread as it relates to, their burden for health. So we got a chance to sit down, have intimate conversations with people, and everyone shared, where they had lost loved ones as a result of maybe heart disease or or diabetes or stroke or whatever that health issue was. So it didn't matter the person's color, their age, any of that kind of information. They all shared that burden. And everyone wanted to make sure that we could provide the information and the foundation necessary to try to keep other people from having to experience those losses. And so that was really the common thread. The secondary thing is that everyone had a heart for community service. Everyone understood the importance of laying the groundwork for the community to not just work like in a silo as it relates to these challenges, but how we could collectively work together to really provide solutions, provide sustainable outcomes for the people that we're trying to affect every day. And so even if, the audiences that the people were reaching were different, we all wanted to reach the people as it relates to making their heart, their lives, and their health better each and every day. And so, we covered a wide area, from education to, like you said, municipalities and community service organizations. And so we were able to really see that bringing this conference to the Huntsville area was absolutely the right place to start, and that the community was behind it.
Yeah, Dr. Batiste, to Danette's point, I think that's probably, of all the things that I took away from the conversations we had, that was the one that just sort of stayed with me. And it even lingers with me at this point, because we would just sit down and talk to folk, and that common thread would just reveal itself. We didn't even ask the question. We just kind of talked about the opportunity that this conference presented to be more informed, to be inspired, to be educated, to be able to learn how to navigate the often choppy waves of the lifestyle challenges that people face. And it was so affirming in so many ways to hear people just kind of tell their own story and be transparent about that process. And I want to just hold on to that for a moment, because storytelling is one of the most powerful ways that we get this message across. And I would imagine that through this conference, people are going to experience the power of storytelling as they engage in this, not just a high-tech arena, but just a high information, high resource arena of an opportunity to experience better, healthy choices for their life. Your thoughts about that?
Listen, that is the way. I mean, throughout the history of man, we know that we have conveyed information through story. Each of us has an origin story. I have an origin story. You have one. Danette has one. I always say my journey down this road of fighting criminals called disease, it started with the death of my dad, with diabetes and the ill effects of that, and Danette's father at the same year from the ill effects of hypertension, both of which are preventable diseases, are treatable diseases. And so we're not in isolation. We understand that it's about providing individuals with access to care, with opportunities, and understanding that right under their nose, doesn't matter what your state is, there are opportunities for you to achieve a better health state than what you're currently at. It's yours for the taking. And so that's where what we're about is about empowerment and letting you know that every little bit adds up. The law of 1%. Every 1% change leads to a beneficial outcome if done repeatedly over the course of a year. And so I'm excited about this conference. I really, truly am, about the lives that we're looking to change. And I'm hopeful in year 2. I want to hear some stories. I want people coming back with their own stories and telling us about transformation.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I know people are excited even now as they're listening. There are people who are getting ready to write down the website and the information that they need in order to be able to be a part of this event. We're going to hold them in a little bit more suspense for a moment, because, Danette, I want you to kind of tell people a little bit about what can they expect over these 3 days. Just kind of give us a high-level understanding of, they step into this space that's going to be amazing. What might they expect to experience?
Well, what I want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to experience is, one, that connection, right? That ability to be in the room with like-minded individuals, as well as to be in the room with people who may be able to enhance your understanding or learning about anything in particular. We've been so isolated as a result of COVID, and we're all trying to, move back into that space where we're actually around other people and able to meet and collaborate and speak to each other, directly, elbow to elbow, eyeball to eyeball, right? And so I'm very excited about that. So they'll get an opportunity not only to interact with the people who are in attendance, but also that one-on-one time with the speakers and the panelists who have, signed up and will be there, throughout the course of the 3-day event. So Sunday evening, there is a dinner that is planned, and again, we're very excited because they will be able to experience delicious plant-based meals for each of the dinners. So there's a dinner on Sunday. Monday, they'll have, they'll have the event, they'll have speakers. They'll also have the opportunity, if they are in the medical field, nursing, dietitians, pharmacists, they'll be able to get continuing medical education credits. We've been able to secure about 15 of those, for attending these events. They will also, again, get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then on Tuesday, they will get content again, breakfast and lunch with the closing ceremony for the conference as we look to determine how we're going to move it forward in the upcoming years. So it's really going to be that opportunity to learn and to share, right? Because we're expecting the people in the audience to also share as it relates to their questions, their thoughts around different topics that we can expound upon. So it is really about being collaborative and taking advantage of every person, every voice, and letting them be a part of this solution that we're trying to build for the future.
Yeah, Dr. Batiste, I'm excited about this event happening. In fact, anytime there's either a health fair, a health seminar, a health forum, a health conversation, I'm listening, I'm dialed in, I'm trying to figure out where I fit in that conversation and what I can do more of to sustain as healthy a life as possible. Talk to folk that are listening just for a moment, that because I know there are these people out there too. A lot of people feel like they're at the point of no return. They feel like they've done too much damage. They feel like they've done too much harm. And so they are not just not disciplined, they just kind of have given up, and they think that there's no other way to go but down. They accept I'm going down and, nothing I can do about it. But there are also some people in that group that kind of feel like, but if I had a chance, if I had, a direction to move in, I'd want to move into that direction. Give some hope and some encouragement to people that are out there, perhaps not quite sure how to get engaged with this healthy lifestyle investment.
Yeah, simply put, it's not the time, the age at which you begin this journey. It's the amount of effort you put into it that makes the biggest difference. As an example, a 90-year-old patient came to office with severe hypertension that led to them having repeated emergency room visits. And so, we as a group decided we were going to put this patient on aggressive lifestyle intervention through nutrition and exercise. And the wife looked skeptically. He had been tried on numerous medications, but surprise to no one, within a matter of weeks to months, all of a sudden his blood pressure normalized in his 90s. It's not the amount, it's not the age at which you start, it's the amount of effort that you put into it. That this thing called health, when we talk about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, it should be life, liberty, and pursuit of health for everyone. This should be something that's available to everyone on the face of the earth, irrespective of your financial strata, irrespective of your gender, your race, or where you live, your zip code. And so that's what this is about, is that you have the power to change your future by small steps, right? Through God's grace, through small steps, you have the power to kind of change your future. And that's what this conference is.
Yeah, and you have framed this in the context of equity, which is a very powerful message that you're delivering just through the title, Health Equity Lifestyle Program. This is, as you said, something you want to be available to anybody that wants it. And Danette, I know that rings your bell. It's something that is very valuable, something very important. It's the language that you speak.
Yes, it is. I'm sorry, I'm coming off mute, but yes. Absolutely, absolutely. And, I think that when it comes to the equity piece, it really is about being able to see yourself in certain spaces, right? And so we are being very intentional in, in who we are targeting. And when we say intentional in that targeting, is because we're targeting everyone. We feel that the equity that we're looking to provide is for everyone. And so, we're delivering that message to, all ages, all careers, all professions. Like, really, if you have a desire to learn more about this, then this conference is for you. If you are taking care of people, or if you're a doctor or a nurse or in the healthcare industry or business, this is for you, to allow you to have some other tools that you can use as you're servicing your constituents, as your people, your patients, things of that nature. It's for those who may be, a caregiver, who are there to support someone who is going through these health challenges. It is for students and faculty who are looking for where they're going to be in their careers in years to come, to really understand the industries that exist in here and ways that they can help people based on their passions and based on their commitments. So we really want to be able to touch everyone where they are, meet people where they are, and give them the information that they can have to change people's lives.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing 3 days. So let's tell people when it's happening, where it's happening, and how they can get more information about it.
Yeah, I'll jump in. So it's this upcoming March 24th through 26th. So Sunday evening through Tuesday. It's just a short 2.5 day. It's going to be packed. Conference there at the Space and Rocket Center and Marriott Center in Huntsville. And so I'm so looking forward to it. You can register at www.thehelp, H-E-L-P, get help, conference.org, thehelpconference.org. And we look forward to seeing you. I would tell you this isn't just a health and wellness. This is an investment seminar. It's an investment in your most prized possession, which is you. Because you can have all the money that you want in the world. You can have the homes, you can have everything you want. But if you don't have your health, it's not worth it. I'm gonna leave Kenny with this one thing is that, I recently suffered a loss from a colleague, a surgeon, open heart, cardiothoracic surgeon that we work with, and working hard up until 2 weeks was diagnosed with a condition, and his life ended 2 weeks later. It can happen to any of us at any point in time. And those who are least likely to take care of themselves are the ones who are caring the most for others. It's so important that we prioritize ourselves, that we have to invest in ourselves in order to reap the benefits and live a life of purpose. This conference is going to teach you how to live your best life so you can live a life of purpose.
Well, look, I'm going to drop a name. Kenny Anderson's going to be there, so I expect you to be there too. And I'm hoping that if you're listening to this afternoon, that you've learned something about the value of this investment. I love what you said, Dr. Batiste. This is an investment conference because we have to reframe the narrative around what we're talking about oftentimes. It's not just about what we don't do, it's what do we do and why do we do it? And what is the return on that investment as a consequence of that? I mean, let's talk those financial literacy terms in terms of our health, and let's see what kind of a payback, what kind of an outcome can we get as a consequence of that. I guarantee you, folks, if you spend a little time looking into this, you will have an amazing outcome that will position you for success as you move forward in life. Dr. Columbus Batiste, Danette Batiste, thank you for joining me this afternoon. I look forward to seeing you guys in a short time from now at the HELP conference.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. I tell you, folks, this is going to be huge. And if you have not registered yet, www.thehelpconference.org is going to get you a spot at this conference. I don't want you to meet me there. I want you to beat me there. Get on over there and register online, thehelpconference.org. It's going to be absolutely amazing. We're going to be fellowshipping. We're going to be learning. We're going to be getting inspired. We're going to be eating some delicious food. and mixing it up with some amazing people. I hope that you take advantage of the opportunity to be a part of this. I'm going to come back in just a moment with another guest. In fact, we got a bonus cut today because there's so much to talk about and so many people to talk to about these things that we're going to come back in just a moment with a little bit more. I'm Kenny Anderson, a Second Chance. I hope that you're having an amazing day.
He leads me beside still waters. He restoreth my soul. When you become a believer, your spirit is made right. And sometimes the soul doesn't get the notice. It has a hole in it due to things that's happened in the past, hurt, abuse, molestation. But we want to speak to you today and tell you that God wants to heal the hole in your soul. Some people's actions are not because their spirit is wrong, but it's because the past has left a hole in their soul. May this wisdom help you get over your past and remind you that God wants to heal the hole in your soul. I have my sister Leandria here. She's going to help me share this wisdom and tell this story.
Deliver me, 'cause all I seem to do is hurt me, hurt me. Lord, deliver me, 'cause all I seem to do is hurt me.
Yes, sir.
Hurt me.
I know we should be finishing, but sing it for me 2 more times.
Lord, deliver me, 'cause all I seem to do is hurt me.
Uh-huh.
Hurt me.
One more time.
Deliver me, 'cause all I seem to do is hurt me. Hurt me.
And my background sing. Oh yeah. Deliver me. God rescue me from myself, from my overthinking. Deliver me. If you're listening out there, just repeat after me if you're struggling with your past and say, let the Lord know. Just say, oh. He wants to restore your soul. Just say, deliver me. Hey, if my people who are called by my name humble themselves and pray, seek my face, turn from their wicked ways, I will hear from heaven. Break it on down. So it is. It is so. Amen. Now when we pray, we want to end that with a declaration, a decree. So I'm speaking for all of you listening, starting here, starting now. The things that hurt you in the past won't control your future. Starting now, this is a new day. This is your exodus. You are officially released. Now sing it for me, Leandria.
This is my exodus. This is my exodus. I'm saying goodbye. This is my exodus. To the old me. This is my exodus. Thank you, Lord. And I'm saying hello. Thank you, Lord. To the brand new me. Thank you, Lord. Yeah.
Transforming lives.
Transforming lives.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenneth Anderson.
Welcome back to the broadcast. I hope that you are enjoying the conversations that we're having this afternoon. I hope that you enjoyed my conversation with my good friends, Dr. Columbus Batiste and Danette Batiste. And, of course, they're bringing the big HELP conference to Huntsville. It's a Health Equity Lifestyle Program conference coming up on May 26th through the 28th. Or I should say, I'm sorry, let me do that one more time. March 24th through the 26th. I'm thinking about another date down the line about an event. So let me not get anybody confused. It's March 24th through the 26th. And I want you to definitely make sure you register. It's the helpconference.org to get more information about it. You'll be glad that you did. My next guest is no stranger to this broadcast. He's been on the show many times before in many capacities. And I'm so happy to see him here one more time. My good friend, Dr. Harry Hobbs. Let me just share a little bit about Dr. Hobbs. First of all, he's currently Vice President of Employee Engagement at Huntsville Utilities. He's been there from 2018 until the present. But my goodness, what a career and what a legacy already. And he's not done yet, folks, because he's still making a difference in communities wherever he goes. He retired from the U.S. Army in 2007 with over 29 years of military service. He served as a professor at Columbia High School. He served as a communication relations officer for the Huntsville Police Department for a period of time. He's been nominated and selected for many awards. In 2013, he was inducted into the U.S. Army Ordnance Corps Hall of Fame, and he's had so many more things happen. But I want to talk to him today, which is really an outgrowth of all of that, about a book that he and his wife have co-authored. The book is called A Flawed Man's Plans in God's Hands. I love the title, and I'm so happy to have Dr. Hobbs back this afternoon. Dr. Hobbs, how are you doing?
Doing well, Kenny, and thank you so much for your gracious introduction and for the many opportunities that you have given me to speak on your platform about the different things that we've tried to do in the community. Thank you so much. I appreciate those opportunities.
This broadcast, and I thank you for that, this broadcast is all about inspiring people. It's all about sharing about the grace of God with people. And literally, yes. I mean, the whole notion of second chance came out of the idea that God's grace sustains us. It helps us through difficult and challenging situations. And I know at the core of your book, that's probably the method. You probably could have called the book Grace.
Oh, gosh. Yes. Kenny, and to your point about accolades on this side of heaven and opportunities, and God has more than given me my fair share, undeservingly so. But so many times I have been called upon to talk about success and this is what right looks like. And but sometimes you want to tell the other story about how you weren't successful, how the many mistakes you made, the regrets that you have, so people can understand that I didn't get here in some pristine fashion and just show up and you know, have these wonderful things happen. There's a process, and none of it could have ever occurred without the grace of God and the forgiveness of his agents on earth, human beings.
Yeah.
And how second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth chances. Don't get me to shouting. It was time for me to reveal that, because my wife and I, we revealed some things that we had never revealed to this community, because number one, we weren't ready for it. But I did have some intrepidation that some people would weaponize some of my weakest moments in life. But God finally gave us the courage to do it, and we're proud we did it.
Well, listen, the last time you were here, you broke that down for us in a way that no one on my show has ever heard before, because traditionally you've been here to talk about caffeine and some other possible positive things that are going on in the community. And you're absolutely right, Harry. It's like we stand on the one hand saying that our lives should be testimonies to others to inspire and encourage them. But then we spend a lot of time covering that up and holding that back. And that's not to say that we need to be bastions of self-disclosure, going around saying, you know, I did this, I know I did that. But timing is everything. And you felt that the time was right. You talked a little bit about how you really kind of determined that. You had conversations with your family, with your wife. You made sure that you tested the soil before you actually planted this process.
Oh, without a doubt. And I talked to my CEO and president, Huntsville Utilities, because I never wanted to do anything for any job. And to be quite honest, because I'm always going to be connected with the school system, Huntsville Utilities, Huntsville Police Department, and the city of Huntsville. And you were one of the people that I wanted permission from, you know, to share this. I didn't want to write the book initially because of my flaws, or that it may damage, you know, people in my life, actors in my life, or my wife. And some of it was painful to go back over. You know, when you pull the scab off of some of the worst decisions and moments in your life to share with the world, so maybe they won't make those mistakes. There was a lot of pain, prayer, and tears that went into this. And some family members and friends did not want me to do this. But as I had put it off actually for a year or so, you know, at age 60, I thought I was ready, and it didn't come out till I was age 63, and my wife was 60. I'm 3 years older than my wife. But she had a vision from the Lord, about 2 years ago. And she felt that God and the Spirit of Christ had, the Holy Ghost had released us to release this book, and not to glorify our sin and our past life, BC, before Christ, but to be real, to be genuine, to talk about the racism, the failures, the poverty, the overcoming, the forgiveness of others. And for folks to realize that only by the grace of God do I stand today. It could have went another way. And if we don't get, ultimately, it's about giving God glory. And if we don't do that, the rocks will. That's what the Bible says. And so we've always given God glory, but we have to help people that are maybe a little wayward, that have lost their way, or that have so much self-doubt and so much self-guilt that they can't get past themselves. And we shared those moments to help them, not hurt them.
Yeah. Well, listen, you have identified about 4 major themes. I want to kind of summarize those in the balance of our conversation today. But I want to ask you quickly, how has the book been received up to now? Because we were talking a little bit about that the last time you were here, a little bit uncertainty about, it's just really getting out now. So I'm really starting to understand the landscape. What's the process been like? How is it being received?
It's been received quite well. I've had 2 book signings since I've last spoke to you, because it was breaking news with you. I'm always going to give you breaking news. And I've received several Amazon book reviews. It's a 5.0 on Amazon. You can Google Dr. Harry Hobbs and Erica Hobbs, or A Flawed Man's Plans in God's Hands. And so, but it was never about numbers. It was about quantity and genuineness. And I would tell you, one of the biggest reviews that touched my heart was that my CEO and president came and talked to me and told me he was proud of me for revealing and how I revealed it to the community. And he told me that it must have taken a lot of courage and prayer. And so that meant the world to me. And I've had several family members say similar. But from your boss and the people that were characters, actors in your life, to say that, it don't get any more humbling than that. And conversely, there are some people in my story that may be upset at me for the rest of my life, because there's always a price to pay when you do the biopic. Some people come out as villains. Some people come out as heroes. But I wanted it to come out in truth.
Yeah. Well, you definitely hit a bullseye on that. As I said to people a few minutes ago, there are a couple of themes or several themes that you have isolated as important to the message that you were sharing. I want to just ask you to reflect on each of these. So, number one, God is real as proven in the Bible through nature and in your heart. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, that's, I had 4 discoveries, and this is my 8 final truths, that I've discovered in my 63 years on the third rock from the sun as a carbon-based oxygen breathing unit that has been blessed enough to travel around the world from a poverty beginning. And I will tell you that I don't know how anyone denies that God is real. Of course, we know as men of Christ, there's 3 prominent ways to understand that God is real. One is through nature. How can you look at nature and think that we were some accident, that we're not special, that there was not a design? I don't know how anybody does that and not make them think. So that's one. And then number 2, the scriptures. As you read the scriptures and as you age and as you see, they're timeless. They overlay in everything we do, regardless of technology, regardless that the world is flat in communications and all the things that God has allowed man to discover. And then also in your heart. And, and as you, as I am now, closer to my grave than my beginning. Woo, hallelujah. Yeah. There is no way that you do not think about eternity and know that it's in your heart that God made us to serve. We are wired to serve. Now you decide what you serve, and serving nothing is a choice. So I feel those are enough salient, understandable, scientifically proved measures to prove that God is real. And I won't even go into the supernatural things that have occurred in my life that I could never explain. I don't want to go to the Twilight Zone on you. But there have been supernatural things that have occurred to me that it could only be God. And so I will leave it there.
Yeah.
That's a whole sermon.
Yeah.
But if you can't understand God is real, then I really believe you will have troubles in life. We all have troubles, but troubles that you can't even address.
Yeah. You talked about supernatural things. I was actually just sharing a supernatural experience that I had several years ago, and I've had several as well that have demonstrated the evidence of what I choose to call God and what I believe to be a higher power in my life. And that supernatural authority has shown up every now and then in ways that I can't explain. So I know it had to be something greater than me. And I know exactly what you're talking about. Harry, you also say rising above your circumstances will take help from God's agents on earth, other human beings. You kind of alluded to that a moment ago when you talked about servitude. Talk a little bit about that.
You will find in life that when we leave our homes, the people that fed us, bathed us, and loved on us sometimes impart in us their stereotypes and prejudices and their hangups in life. And then we as adults, we have to come to that cognitive dissonance. Oh, well, that was then, this is now. I got to open myself up to the world. I've got to trust other people, don't look like me, think like me, pray like me. So my point to that, and it's nothing against anybody's parental units, it's part of growth, is that this multiracial kid that was an abortion candidate that was born out of wedlock, it took every walk of life for me to get here. It took people that I knew didn't like people of color, and it took black people that didn't like mixed people to help me. And so I had to get past my own hangups and just stay professional. And then whoever God brought in my life, I tried to make the most of it and appreciate what they did and maybe give some teachable moments along the way to break the racism, whatever side, having experienced it from the black and white crucible throughout my life. And I just realized that God made me this way so I could be a bridge, and I was going to have to be open to the people he brought in my life. And as I look back on my life, I realized that so many people helped me that didn't have to, that didn't generally help people like me. And so I know that they were God sent and God blessed. And I just had to get over my own stereotypes, prejudices, and shortcomings.
Yeah, wow, that's powerful. Harry, a third one is being persistent and consistent over time can make up for your lack of privilege or opportunities. Yeah. That comment will take a text and preach.
Yes. you know, and you probably saw this in the book. I might not have been your first choice, but I'm going to show you I was your best choice. And you don't have to turn me on. You may have to turn me down. You don't have to find me. You may have to tell me that's enough. And so I realized early in life that one way I could overcome the many hurdles in my unfortunate early years was to be highly motivated, was to be as physically fit and mentally awake. I know, morally straight. I was a Boy Scout, Eagle Scout. You know, I realized that those were the things that, and to have tough skin. And as you know, fire played a literal part in my life several times. But I had to have tough skin and realize that I had to put skin in the game, get over myself, and understand that I was more equipped and even privileged in some ways than I even imagined.
Very powerful. And the perspective that you just shared is such a common one with people who feel like they have been sort of isolated, left out, overlooked, marginalized as a consequence of life circumstances. But as you say in the book, it doesn't have to be the end of the story. And it's a consistent theme in your narrative and how you're constantly showing people, here was the reality, but here was the response to that reality. And it's always a divine calling that presents that opportunity to steer you in that right direction. Finally, faith, family, and friends, finances, and fitness must be managed to be wholly successful in life. You kind of alluded to this in our last segment where we talked about a comprehensive approach to one's lifestyle. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yes. You know, I love the 4 F's or 5 F's. Some people got 6 F's. But those are the things that have to be managed because, you know, in life, there's seasons. You may have friends that you got to let go because they can't be what they need to be, and you sure can't be what you need to be. And but let me start at the beginning. Faith for me, faith. You know, for me as a Judeo-Christian believing young man, grew up in a United Methodist Church in my formative years, and then of course, you know, I was attracted to the Pentecostal way. Normally, I got to shut the door when I give an interview or when I'm behind the pulpit because I get a little excited. If you can't, I don't know why. Check your pulse. But the faith, once I decided to stop running from the opportunity to serve the Lord, because I didn't find him, he had never left. I found myself in my faith. That was the catalyst. And as you know, part of my faith was through a horrible accident that changed who I married, who most people have no idea. I was engaged to somebody else and had a horrible 3rd-degree burn explosion during my military career that changed me forever inside and out. But it was faith that substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, Hebrews 11:1 and James 12:1. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord has promised to those that loved him. And so as the woman I thought would be my bride and my queen let me go due to my horrible accident, I was in the valley in life, and God worked through a situation that caused me to come out of that valley and to fall on my knees and to ask for forgiveness. And horrible things don't have to happen to you, Kenny. So I don't want anybody to get that twisted. That was just my route. It could have been a sunny day and everything good. So horrible stuff don't have to happen. And then, with the family, at the end of the day, you got to manage your family. You got to love them, forgive them, and support them. Because at the end of the day, all you have is your family and your faith, really. And so that goes with, and finances. As a person grew up in abject poverty, I realized that I had to change those generational curses. I didn't do it so well the first couple of my working years, but I finally, you've heard of, Mr. Ramsey and his, Christian way of doing things, and some other mentors in my military career. But you must get your finances straight. You must control the things that you can control, so you can move your family from poverty to prosperity and pass it on to the next generation. And then, of course, fitness. I'm a fitness guy, still manage the Army 10 Mallard team. We only get one body. If you use it right, you can overcome some things, because if you're highly motivated and physically fit, you can continue to give back to the community. And as most people don't even know that, my prostate cancer diagnosis, but because I was physically fit and because God touched me, I was able to overcome that. And, along with the 40 operations, I don't want to give everything away, to be where I'm at today. But I had to be able to manage those, and thank God for a Christian woman that didn't leave me when I was going through all these medical and mental and physical challenges. Proverbs 31 says, when you find a good Christian woman, she's a good, you have found a good thing. I would not be where I'm at today without Erica Hobbs, who's my co-author, who is the light of my life, 43 years in matrimony a few days ago. And her forgiving spirit and her faith helped grow me as well.
Yeah, boy, Harry, you've got such an amazing and remarkable story, and I'm just so happy that you had the chance to join us here once again today. Tell people where they can get a hold of that amazing book.
You can get a hold of it on Amazon under the title, A Flawed Man's Plans in God's Hands, or you can Google my name, Dr. Harry Hobbs. And one of the other things that are coming out, I'm working on a handout, if you will, a seminar for a Christian seminar for men and for corporate America on some of my lessons that I've learned in life. That'll be out in the future. And we think God is going to bless that. So, you got the book, then you got to have the materials to support the book. That's how it works in this world. And so I'm looking forward to that. But again, at the bottom line, I'm not trying to make any money. I'm not trying to make any name. Of course, we are profit, not nonprofit, but a lot what we're going to do is nonprofit and free and gratis. As you know, Kenny, I, like you, get back to the community because the community got me where I'm at here. And so we're just praying about that. But thank you, brother, for allowing me again to talk about how great God is and how he's working in our lives every day.
And giving him all the glory. I think that you said it all when you said that, and you consistently have demonstrated that through everything that you've done. Of course, shout out and best wishes to Erica. Congratulations on 43 years of matrimony. And I know you celebrate her. In fact, that's how I first met you. You were in a contest and met you and her, and it was a I didn't say what kind of contest. It was a cool contest. It could have baking contest. It was
yes.
you were extremely invested in the effort of that particular event, and I was just so I'd never seen you before, didn't know who you were, and I was like, what an amazing person and what an amazing family, and you guys have just demonstrated that consistently over the years. I'm honored to call you friend and delighted to have had this opportunity to talk to you today on the broadcast. The next time we talk, Harry, is going to be about Community Awareness for You 2024, and I look forward to that opportunity as well.
Thank you, sir. Blessings to you and what you do, sir.
Thank you. Have a good rest of the day. We'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
All right. Dr. Harry Hobbs joining me this afternoon, and I'm just so privileged and honored to have had the chance to talk to him this afternoon. I'm going to come back in just a moment and wrap things up, I think, and I'll do that in just a moment. It's Second Chance. I'm Kenny Anderson. I hope you're having a great day.
Perhaps you have some ideas, comments, or suggestions that you would like to share, or perhaps you'd like to be a guest on the broadcast. We'd love to hear from you. Please feel free to email Kenny Anderson at mxlife@aol.com, or you can like us on the Second Chance Facebook page. That's 2ND Chance. And now, back to more of Second Chance with Kenny Anderson.
Thank you to my guests once again, Melissa Thompson and Nancy Vaughn and Gary Whitley with the Community Foundation of Huntsville. Great chatting with them this afternoon. Also, the president of CNI Solutions, Charles Frye, joined me for the conversation. I talked with Dr. Columbus Batiste and Danette Batiste about the big HELP conference that's coming up on March the 24th through the 26th. There you go. I nailed it. I got it right. And Dr. Harry Hobbs, who is the author of A Flawed Man's Plans in God's Hands. I hope that you have enjoyed the conversation that we've had today, and I hope that you'll be ready for us the next time we come on and share information with you. Next week, it's What's Going On, my social and political roundtable discussion. Some combination of fellows will be with me to talk about all the things that you're probably talking about today. In the meantime, I hope that you have a great rest of the week. And remember, as always, knowledge is better than riches. Have a great afternoon. And we'll talk again soon. Good day.
Thank you for tuning in to Second Chance. We hope that the information that was shared has been a blessing to you and that your life will be enriched as a result of it. We'd love to hear from you. So please send your email comments to Kenneth Anderson at mxlife@aol.com. That's mxlife@aol.com. And check out our Facebook page, 2ND Chance. That's 2ND Chance. In the meantime, have a great week, and we'll talk to you again next week. Good day.